and brake.
When all else fails, have a steak.
The first section on the final day of the Toyota 1000 Desert Race was a long loop starting and ending at Lepepe. From there, it was a straight run back to Gaborone for the survivors of what was turning into one of the toughest desert races in the history of the event. It was bitterly cold when Franz Čepek Sr. and Jr. led the field away from the overnight stop at Lepepe. The car field had been decimated on day one, with just on half the starters who set out from Gaborone the day before out of the race. As usual, there were those with last-minute technical problems, and there was no doubt it was going to be another tough day for all concerned. With a comfortable lead in the production vehicle category, and with the Toyota 1000 counting double points towards the championship, there was little doubt that top contenders like Arpi Reinecker and Robin Houghton would be out to consolidate an already strong position. For those who'd lost ground on day one, it was a case of having to push as hard as possible to try and put pressure on those ahead. The Sulwalt brothers, Hermann and Karl-Heinz, need no urging on when it comes to flat-out motoring. They had plenty of ground to make up, as did Cliff Barker and Mike Redden in the Video Sport SVM Land Rover. With Arpi Reinecker and Robin Houghton in control of the production vehicle class, for Barker and Redden, the task was to salvage as many championship points as was possible. After a tremendous run over Racing Section 1, Eastern Cape crew Greg Harvey and Lionel Acton were still in with a chance of winning the special vehicle category in the Queen Motorspares Raceco. There was also a great performance the previous day from Niels Lemmer and Frans Skutter, who had a tight hold on Class E and a place in the top 10. The Toyota Hilux was still sounding good, with Lemmer and Skutter eyeing a top 5 finish. In the quad racer category, it was virtually all over bar the shouting. All Vickers van Deventer had to do to make sure a victory was stay aboard the Yamaha. With a lead of an hour, it was highly unlikely anyone was going to catch van Deventer. Francois Smit and the Breckel brothers were next on the road, with most of the interest in the quad category centered around who would finish in second place. There were one or two other problems for the quad brigade, who had a little difficulty in sorting out the right route. There were no such problems for bike leader Errol Dalton on the Lesotho Office Equipment Honda. Dalton took a heavy fall shortly after the start, and later admitted it helped clear a few cobwebs from his mind. Henny Human was still getting chase on the little Lesotho Office Equipment Honda, but unless something untoward happened, didn't have much chance of catching Dalton. Third on the road and riding as steadily as ever was Rian van Niekerk on the PD Motorcycles Kawasaki. Van Niekerk also didn't have much hope of catching Dalton, but needed a good finish to stay at the top of the 500 class championship table. Brian Bontekoning was also pushing hard on the Antelex Schimwells Yamaha. Bontekoning was followed by Atti Hofmeyer on a privately entered Kawasaki. Hofmeyer was looking to pick up a place or two, as was Ulrich Murray on the Dicron Motors KTM. Back with the car classes, more drama was starting to unfold, with the Toyota Desert Race producing its customary sting in the tail. Franz Čepek Sr. and Jr. were still running at the front of the field, but had run into a gearbox problem that was starting to slow them down. Mechanical problems at this stage of the race were the last thing that Čepek's or any other crew wanted. Behind the Čepeks, it was still Arpi Reinecker and Robin Houghton, who was second on the road in the Bangfin Toyota Land Cruiser. All was also not well with the Land Cruiser, which had lost four-wheel drive. With all the sand and more dry riverbed sections ahead, loss of four-wheel drive was a major blow for Reinecker and Houghton. Still pushing as hard as they could were Hermann and Karl-Heinz Sulwalt, but by now the Raceco's engine was starting to sound a little rough. There were also problems for Cliff Barker and Mike Redden in the Video Sport SVM Land Rover. They had also lost four-wheel drive, were battling with a slipping clutch, and punctures were again a headache for the pair. Nardus Alberts and Peter Mathieu were still going strongly in the Rapsa Raceco, but their race was to end in retirement. It was a major disappointment for Alberts and Metier, who have not had much luck this season. Behind them, the Lubrication Equipment Raceco, with Richard Carolyn now doing the driving, was running as strongly as ever. Not having driven on the previous day, Carolyn was battling with navigation problems, but on corrected time was right up with the leaders. For the Chepex, a stop for running repairs, with Bucks Carolyn lending a helping hand, finally ended their hopes of victory.
We've taken out about 50 trees.
With the Chepex having lost valuable ground, Api Reinicker and Robin Houghton were first on the road in the Bangfin Toyota Land Cruiser. With no four-wheel drive, the pair were forced to slow their pace, and chasing hard were Greg Harvey and Lionel Acton in an impressive performance in the Queen Motorspares Raceco. Behind the Harvey-Acton car, Richard Carolyn was also pushing hard, and it was clear the Toyota 1000 Desert Race was in for a grandstand finish. That the race was going to produce one of the tightest finishes in its long history became even more clear when the leading bunch hit another dry riverbed and found the going really tough. The Video Sport SVM Range Rover was still plugging along, with navigator Stratford Fucht starting to savour his first finish in 11 Desert Race starts. The Range Rover was caught by the flying Vickers van Deventer, who had steadily increased his lead in the quad racer category. Errol Dalton had maintained a constant gap over those doing the chasing, and was also all but home and dry on the Lesotho Office Equipment Kawasaki. There were a few moments of indecision for Henny Human, but he had the 200 class in his pocket. Paul Breckel was running in second place in the quad racer class, but was more than an hour behind Vickers van Deventer. Behind Breckel came Gavin Nimmo, who'd been a strong contender for 250 class honours throughout the race. Nimmo then fell 8 minutes behind Graham McLachlan after the organisers scrapped a section of the motorcycle route because of a mix-up over the positioning of a refuel point. With the finish line almost in sight, there was more drama when the front-runners found themselves in a tangle over which was the right route. While the Reinicker Houghton and Harvey-Acton crews rode around in circles, the pack was closing in. Richard Carolyn was doing a terrific job in the Lubrication Equipment Raceco, with Nick Harper and Richard Hill making a late charge in the Pro-M Rock Oil Raceco. It was also tough going for Niels Lemmer and Frans Skutter in the Toyota Hilux, but they had a tight hold on Class E and a finish in the top 10. The Abraham Fucht Range Rover needed a little help extricating itself from thick mud, and the race ended for Cliff Barker and Mike Redden when the Video Sport SVM Land Rover's clutch broke and the pair got stuck in a riverbed. After finally managing to get back on the right route, Greg Harvey and Lionel Acton were the first crew to cross the finish line. The Eastern Cape pair were followed by Richard Carolyn in the Lubrication Equipment car, with the Carolyn brothers beating Harvey and Acton by 61 seconds on corrected time. Api Reinicker and Robin Houghton dominated the production vehicle class, with Niels Lemmer and Frans Skutter edging out Arthur Abraham and Stratford Fucht for second spot.
It's been a hard race. Marking's not been as good as we would have liked it to be, but I suppose that's off-road racing and you just take it as it comes.
Errol Dalton duly completed a comfortable win in the motorcycle section and also took the 500 class. The 250 class went to Graham McLachlan, with Henny Human the 200 category winner.
Yeah, I had a very excellent ride the whole way through the whole day. I took a bad fall about 2Ks from the start this morning, and from there I just thought to myself, I'll just take it easy and just get myself there in one piece, and I just had a good day.
Vickers van Deventer won the quad racer category almost as he pleased. Van Deventer was more than an hour ahead of Paul Breckel, who had 11 minutes in hand over Derek Johnson.
I got this morning a good lead after yesterday, so I thought take it easy and come home.
Toyota is proud to be associated with the Toyota 1000 Desert Race and salutes the winners in all the categories of one of the toughest events in the world.